Good morning and welcome to Daily Game Design. It looks like I will have about an hour for the first time in a while. I'm actually at it at a reasonable time. And the focus of this stream actually started with a conversation related to a crowdfunding campaign that's running right now. And I'm not sure, but it feels like they launched yesterday. And I'm in a group message with at least one of the guys, maybe both. I don't really remember. We've interacted a little bit, but anyway, so in this group message, one of the designers, so it's like a mix of designers and publishers. I think everybody is basically designing in there, or at least like the point is usually playtesting, but there's other like industry chat kind of stuff. It's been really cool. It's been really valuable and interesting to get to know these guys. So they described this game. They mentioned and linked into this game like one of the more active guys in there and tagged, I think, probably one of the publishers. And anyway, the discussion went on for a little while. I went down, I kind of scrolled down, looked through, and then I had a look at the rule book. And for whatever reason, rule books, like I like looking through them now that I've written a few for a publisher and worked on others and given a lot of feedback. And of course, because I'm a writing coach and I get, paid to teach at the university level on like what it means to offer fairly technical, well-structured writing. It's just kind of cool to see how these skills also apply in rule books. So I started reading through this one and pretty early on found things I was confused about, things I was a little bit kind of uninterested in. Like I'll give you just one very, very quick example. And in fact, I'm part of a little conversation on Facebook even this morning about this issue. In my view, a rule book is about getting people to have a nice time as soon as possible, getting players to have a nice time as soon as possible. How can you get them to the game, get them playing the game as efficiently and seamlessly as possible? Seamlessly seems, this is an interesting thing. So I pitched this metaphor to my students, or they're actually at the tail end, the tail end of their research project for this semester. So it's the first half of the semester. We front loaded the research project, and it's been big and it's been tough for a lot of students. But anyway, now that we're kind of coming to the end, now we're reading a little more closely. We're in the drafting phases. So one of the metaphors I used to describe the target experience for a reader. So what we did is we plucked out the first sentence of each paragraph after the intro paragraph. So the topic sentence. And if we read that topic, that string of topic sentences from beginning to end, my sense is it should be a pretty smooth flow. It should represent the story of the paper very clearly. And there will be some variation in there, but the metaphor I used, at least for some students, I conferenced one-on-one with them last week. I think it was last week. And I wonder if I hadn't updated my Twitch stuff. So I conferenced with them last. Wait, did I do this with YouTube as well? Oh no, I think I let the YouTube video be like have whatever old name it was. Anyway, so I was conferencing with students, and then I'm just kind of vibing, I'm just kind of riffing, and then I would depending on who I was talking to, of course I might say some different things. And one of the things that I ended up sharing was a metaphor of sidewalks. So I got here by thinking about what it means to have a seamless reading experience. And I think a seamless reading experience feels like moving along a smooth sidewalk, where the seams between the concrete pads, very small, very easy. It's almost like, can you imagine skateboarding, skateboarding on a sidewalk? Some sidewalks are much easier to skateboard on than others. You can imagine like if they're really off kilter and the lips are at really different heights. And so anyway, that's the kind of experience, that I'm kind of having in the back of my mind. Like, how smooth is this sidewalk? And here's the thing. I think even the fact that a player has to read a rule book is friction. I think it's like it's already resistance, right? The fact that they want to get to the thing on the table, and there are 50 other things they already know how to. There are 50 other games they already know how to play. The rulebook itself, the fact that it exists and that it has to be read and understood, is by itself, because it exists, it's already friction. It's already an obstacle to reading, to playing the game. So if you accept even the best written rulebook is already an obstacle to players, then I think that helps to kind of shape our focus on. Oh, hey, Francisco, welcome. So I'm introducing today's activity with a little background here. Actually, let me open it up. Oh, yeah, I downloaded it. Pretty sure I downloaded I had the Nestlings Rulebook. Anyway, my point is, how can you get the rulebook out of the way so that players can play the game sooner than later? That's a main question I have. So when I started reading through this Kaylora rulebook, actually I don't even know how to say this name. I know that could be on me, and I might be playing dumb here, but I assume it's Kaylora, but I'm not too sure. I started reading this, and then I saw this block of text. This is something, and this is me in my sort of most sensitive, right? When I'm reading somebody else's rule book, I'm reading in a specific way. I'm not reading generously, and I think that's an important point. I think there are a fair number of gamers who, have high reading comprehension. They're willing to be very patient with the rulebook writers, and they'll say, "I know that's not what you said, but I think it's what you mean." Right? They're willing to give a rulebook writer or a designer or publisher. They're willing to give them that cushion. I am not reading like that. I am reading like the person who, as they read, they want a very clear understanding of what's happening. They don't want to carry too much weight as they go. They want it to be frictionless. They want a frictionless rulebook experience. That's who I want to read as, because those are the people who are going to be most vocal if the rulebook is off, if it's not working for them, right? If they don't understand certain aspects of the gameplay or even the setup, those are the people that you're going to lose, and I don't think you'll ever get back. So, as I said, I think they're going to be most vocal as well. That's completely anecdotal. I don't know for sure, but anyway, so I started reading through here. This is way more background than I expected. Started reading, and then like stuff like this, just the fact that this exists that this page exists in the rule book, I started thinking, like this is not something I would ever read. Now, there are people who are interested in lore, people who are interested in the world. I am not one of them. Like there's on magic cards, there's flavor text on every single magic card. I never look at the flavor text. I'm not interested. And that's me, and I may be presenting that type of reader to the publisher. Or when I do a rulebook review. So here's another like giant block of text. This is the overview. And again, I'm trying to scan through this rule. So if I'm a player, I'm thinking, how can I get to playing as soon as possible? What do I need to know here? Right? What do I need to know? This is a lot of reading for an overview. And in an overview, I might expect... Actually, did I rate it here? Okay, so I might have a couple of sections at the start of the rulebook. Like if you want to hit me with a little theme, with a little lore, do it in, a paragraph, a very short paragraph. That's my preference. Yeah, rip out his lore poem from his rulebook. Though in my defense, it's at the back of the rules. So that's actually what I suggested here. It's like, here, let me read this. Seems like this would be a nice touch, but I don't think many people are likely to read it. And personally, I think every bit of non-essential added thickness to the rulebook is an obstacle to learning the game. I would eliminate this or move it to the bottom. So, again, my priority here is not like... My priority is getting the rulebook out of the way so people can play. And I think there is that player who picks up a thick rulebook and says, no, thank you. Right? Even if every other page is like a full page just image, I think they pick up a thick rulebook, a heavy rulebook, and they say, let's play something else. So I think it's better. Well, no, I don't think that's a hard and fast rule. I don't think it means, make your rulebook as slim as possible. But all I'm saying is that is a factor. So if there's any fat, cut the fat. That's my view on it. Now I'm also reading for a particular kind of player in this, and I think in this sense, it's the one who's probably not quite as experienced. They don't really know where to look in the rulebook to find what they need, something like that. But anyway, on the spectrum of like novice and expert, I think I probably read as the bottom third of players. So I don't know. That's a kind of new idea for me just now. But okay, so what I'm looking for is moments of friction. But I didn't even mean to... I'm not even wanting to spend time on this rule book. But it's just stuff started standing out to me. So then I offered the publishers and everybody in that group text, like, I know I don't have time for paid work right now, but I said, if... I just said, you guys should send me your rule books before you go live, was my message. Because at least I can give a little bit of feedback. But okay, as I get into this, all right, so the thing was, I offered this rule book. It's a little service, right? I mean, it's what I did with Raising Rabbits the other day. It's what I'll do with your your prequel, Francisco. Is just open it up, have a look, see if anything stands out to me right away. And I'm gonna download this then. Okay, so the next step was the conversation continued in the chat, and then I swear I've downloaded this already, but maybe this is the only view I had. It's possible. And then the question came up. They wondered why this game wasn't taking off as quickly as their previous games. And that's an interesting question. Like, that's one that I think has identifiable answers. You know, it's the kind of thing that research is about. So I went and just had a look, like, what has been the situation for their designs previously. I haven't backed one of their projects. I haven't very closely followed any of them. I was aware of Soros. It turns out. So here we can go to their games. So I'm familiar with Soros because one of the guys that was a designer on a game I wrote the rules for, or wrote and edited, I guess, the rules for Bedouin games. He was the designer of Soros, but they had already, I think, done the crowdfunding for Soros when I met that guy. Okay, so I recognize Nestlings. I've never played it. Peaks I recognized, I think only because I'm in the big Facebook group, and they were talking about it. I don't. Yeah, that's mainly it. Okay, so they've got a game coming. Well, anyway, so I started looking back through the games, and one of the things I look for now, after working with Bedouin games and knowing that the flood nearly took the company down, and I really believe that. The flood's primary problem was its rulebook. That was its essential problem, and the timeline for that publisher was that they got the flood funded and very well supported crowdfunding campaign, like impressive, and then they had Rise of Babel was funded and well supported, not quite as much as the flood. Let's see, if I'm writing the rule book to be read as you play the first time, should I mention that I think most people think they have to read all the rules and then play? Yeah, I think it'd be reasonable to point people. Yeah, if you have like a quick start guide, I would point them to the quick start guide. Certainly like a nice strong table of contents. Because as I get into this, actually I expected to already be in the rule book. But as I get into this, what I'm thinking is, what are the types of friction that are possible? One type of friction is when somebody has a hard time finding what they need, right? That would be like a category of friction. In other words, people have expectations when they come to a text. And if that text flouts their expectations, meaning it doesn't match what they expect, that's friction. And some authors play with that. Like in fiction, that's totally cool. Like you're playing with people's expectations. In a rule book, you should not be playing with expectations. You should be anticipating and shaping expectations. So, Francisco, what you brought up there is an opportunity to shape a reader's expectations. If this rulebook writer, I'm reading through your rules, and the rulebook writer says, okay, I've got a way to get into the game, which is rules light, you should read that first. Then I think, oh, cool, this rulebook is huge. I'm now, I feel pretty good that I don't have to read all of these to get started, right? You shape their expectations. Then if they're in their first play and now they're flipping through the rule book, because they don't understand what's going on, now this is flouted expectations. right? And I think it creates a much more negative experience than if you had them read the whole rule book at the start. So if you say, here's this really simple get started, quick start guide, and it works, wow, that's great. If you say, here's a quick start guide, and it doesn't work, and they get buried, or they get lost in the rules, that I think creates an even more negative experience than had you just had them read the whole rule book, right? It's an expectations issue, right? So, okay, I want to download this. I thought I did, but maybe I haven't. I still haven't. Okay, I do have it. Okay, so that, yeah, so like finding rules and getting lost finding rules creates friction. There will be some other sources of friction we find out here. Okay, well, okay, so what I found was that I'm finishing the Bedouin game story. So their next game, okay, this is what happens. So the Flood gets well funded. Babel gets well funded. Then the Flood delivers or fulfills. And then people can't play it because of the rule book. Then they have their next campaign. Their next campaign is not nearly as well supported. And they're trying to figure it out. And some of it could be theming. That's when I came in and was working on the Three Magi. So this is the Three Magi game, which is kind of Christmassy. It's definitely overtly Christian, so there could be a little resistance to that. But Christian stuff is getting well supported these days. I mean that the Lego-ish crowdfunding campaign got big money. So anyway, in my view, and you can imagine this now, the way I'm setting it up, my view is that they lost trust with that first rule book. When the game got delivered, people couldn't play it. Why would they back any more games from this publisher? Why would they do that? So anyway, so it got funded, but it's likely they lost money. I don't know, but it's likely they lost money. Okay, so then I went and looked back through this publisher's timeline. And you know what? The exact same thing happened. So, as in, this project did well, their next project did pretty well, but then this project funded. This project got delivered. And if you look at the BGG comments, the news is pretty bad. So if you just go in, so this is usually what I do now. Okay, I'll just click in here to the ratings and comments. Okay, if the very top one, unfortunately, is hated the AI mechanics, that's too bad. But you start seeing bad rules. Rulebook is quite bad. Rulebook is perhaps the bottom 5 rulebooks I've ever read. Like, if you start to see any sort of pattern around the rules, this is a big problem. Because these are only the very few people who took the time to come and comment about how bad the rules are. Okay? Everybody else just put the rulebook down and played a different game. Right? So, now you do have a little bit of positive feedback, but not much. And I would say, now that I understand how important rulebooks are, I would say if you get any single comment, any one comment about having a bad rulebook, this is a huge concern. Like, absolutely massive concern. Because again, like, how many comments do they have? There are 53 comments. Okay, and there is a percentage that's higher than 2% that is commenting on the rulebook here. But like, how many people backed this game? I don't remember. Isn't it in the? Let's look. Okay, almost 1,800 people. 1,800 people, about 50 comments, and look, let's say 5, but not as much fun as I had envisioned. Right, fair enough. Disjointed mechanics. A well-produced delight of a board game, and they rated it a 6. What does that mean? That's tough. Tough criticism. What did we see? 3 or 4 rulebook comments? Anyway. That's like almost 10% of comments. Anyway, I look for those now, and I feel like that's pretty telling. So I actually described this timeline in our group chat, and I feel kind of bad bringing it up, to be honest. Yeah, I think I wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's a clear. I feel like it's a pattern I saw. It's not a pattern, but it's an arc I saw, a situation I saw with Bedouin. And now if there's any real similarity here, I feel like this is a possible pattern that if the rulebook goes wrong, you're going to lose the confidence of the people. Well, okay. So I brought up this type of this kind of trajectory, and he just said, I'm not sure why the rulebook is getting so much hate. So then that for me was, oh, that's interesting. If you're not sure, so if people are commenting negatively on the rulebook and you're not sure where those are coming from, I wonder if I can figure it out, because certainly not something you want to repeat, right? Is getting negative rulebook comments. But I thought, you know what? I might be able to figure this out and have a little fun doing it. So the question is, why is this rulebook getting hate? That's the question. And I wonder if we can kind of diagnose what's going on with this one. So what about the halfway mark? So for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to be looking for sources of friction, and I'll try to describe those as I find them. But this is already like, nice. Okay, cool. Don't like reading? Go scan this code. There's a fair number of people who will not scan codes from people they don't know. But it's a nice option, right? Okay, this is nice. It's positive. It's kind of warm. It's a little out of the way. Actually, I should probably change my view here. Unfortunately, this means that we're going to lose, like, you're not going to be able to read what I'm reading as well. Also, these guys need to relax on the layers. That was crazy. I think this rulebook is, okay, 64 megabytes. I guess that's not insane. But yikes, that loaded like kind of crazy. Okay, so I'll probably switch back and forth between views here. Yeah, so again, you're not going to really be able to see very much that I see, I guess, just because it's so small. Components list. So that's that's very common. I would prefer a table of contents up here. So a table of contents is like an anchor point for somebody. Like it's a comfort blanket. You know, it's I don't want to be flipping through this rule book like crazy to find stuff. Where can I go to have some level of confidence that I'll be able to at least get into the right section? So, table of contents essential. Table of contents looks like it's missing. And it's not there's no indication either on the back of the rule book. So, table of contents, big deal. Game contents. Right. Like, wow. This loading is wild. Okay, so to be honest, I'm not reading this, right? Like if I'm here for the rules, I'm not reading this. It's nice that I also want to be really careful in saying like it's not that like I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just giving, I'm yeah, trying to offer my experience and even like playing a character because I'm that like hypersensitive character right now. So I'm not going to read this. It's nice it's here. I probably wouldn't make it so prominent, but I'm not going to read that. Okay, 4-player boards. Cool, game board. Something that's a little bit odd here is the relative size of things. So how big is the game board? That's my question. So when I look at this, I can't tell the scale of one component relative to another one. I can't imagine the biome dice are this big, but you know often, and this happens I think on the next couple of pages, but it's probably safer to present components to scale, right? Because I look around this and I don't know, is this yeah these dice, are they really as big as a quarter of the player board? No, probably not, right? And I don't think somebody would really believe that. But the thing is, this is it's already quite busy. It's a little hard to look through. And I think it's probably just safer to present things. Like if I'm looking through bags of components, like how big are these? I don't know because I have no idea. Like, are they the same size as the first player token? No, probably not, right? But like if I'm setting up, if I'm looking digging through a box with tons of components and I'm looking through, think punch boards and stuff like that, I might want to know, I can't tell what this is. This is a resource bag. This is certainly just a graphic for a research bag. But how big are these? That's a thing. Not a huge deal, but it could cause a touch of friction as you're like rifling through the box for components. 80 biome segments, 20 in each of 4 colors. Yeah. The labels are clear. Um that seems fine. I like that they set these components apart. That makes a lot of sense to me. Okay. What are these goals? So uh I'm a huge fan of referring to components directly. So they've done it for the most part, but what are these? Are these gold cards? Are they tiles? Are they tokens? They're probably cards, right? Okay, and they're resource cards. Okay, let's actually get into the rules. Setup. Place the game in the center of the play area within reach of all players. I really like this. And I'm not going to do this line by line, but I read another rule book recently that it's like, anyway, I just like in the center of the play area within reach of all players. For me, that's just concrete. Place the 30 resources of each biome into their respective biome bags along with one wild resource. Place each biome bag near the biome that matches the symbol shown. Place the 30 resources of each biome. What are the resources of each biome? Wait, biome resource bags, okay. 1 resource discard bag. 124 resources. Okay, so 6 copies of 5 types. Wait. Place the 30 resources of each biome into their respective biome bags. 6 copies of 5 types in each of 4 colors. Wait, so what goes into... So does this mean the blue resources are going into the blue bag? I think so, right? 6 copies of 5 types. So they're in each of 4 colors, right? Okay. Plus 1 wild for each biome. Okay. Place the 30 resources of each biome. Respective biome bags along with 1. How would I know? Do I know that the blue tokens should go in the blue bag? I think that's what that's the connection I'm hoping, or they're hoping I make. I would okay. So this is where I'm not going to be generous as a reader. Okay. Like, I shouldn't have to be doing this sort of tiny components, then I don't know. The scale is not an expert opinion of mine or anything, but it stands out to me that as I'm looking through components, it might be nice to know the relative size. And I think I do learn more as I look at these pages of the rulebook. These are to scale, these images. So I think that's nice. There's just a ton here. And I wonder if there would have been a way to like kind of reorganize this stuff so that maybe you could indicate certain things of relative size. I don't think it's a huge deal, but it occurred to me. So all I'm doing is I'm being a pretty annoying reader right now, but I don't think I'm being super unreasonable. This already got me. And like I said, I could be generous here as a reader, but I'm not going to be. I just didn't expect to get stuck right here. So yeah, so I would think there's a way to know which resources of which biome, and they went with color, I think. But I would probably mark that somehow with an icon. That's all. Like, nothing is obvious to this reader. That's what's going on here. Along with 1, place each biome bag near the biome that matches the symbol shown. Okay, so here's the number 2. And then, okay, now we're looking over here, and I like this a lot. Like, I think this is obviously important when you label stuff and then indicate it, with if you have steps in setup and then you give those steps numbers, and then you also indicate in a layout. That's great, right? Most rulebooks do this. Each player takes their scoring token and places it in the biome discard bag. Okay. The biome discard bag. I think the way to see that is to come over here. Okay, that is indicated with 2, but I think the biome discard bag is over here, and it has no 2, but okay. Okay, each player takes their scoring token and places it in the biome discard bag. Oh, it should be with it labeled with a 3. Place in the discard. Shake the bag and pull out 1 token. This is the start player. Oh. Okay, what I would do here is I would definitely say, see, again, being hypersensitive reader, I don't know what this section is for. I thought that each player takes their scoring token and places it in the biome discard bag would be part of setup, as in, at the end of setup, the bag will have tokens in it. But this looks like this is the starting player. So of course you can imagine I would start this little paragraph. It's an unfortunate collection of sentences here, but I would start this as select the first player or identify the first player. Is that what this is about? Also, where's number 3? Number 3 is over here. Oh, it's pointing to the first player token, but it never mentions the first player token. This is the starting player. Place the biome resolution token in their biome. How do we know whose biome is whose? Does it mean on their player board, or does it mean on their biome? Because I don't know what. Wait. Each player takes their scoring token. If Brandon ends up watching this is going to be so cringeworthy for him. Not that he did a bad job, but that he'll be like screaming at his screen saying, "What are you talking about? Like, what's your problem?" Like, just read the rules already. But like, I really don't know. Each player takes their scoring token and places it in the biome discard bag. What is my scoring token? What is my scoring token? Oh, over here. I have 2 scoring tokens. Okay, this is all very minor. I want to feel the need to reinforce that since I'm stuck here on step 3 of setup. Okay, so looking for moments of any kind of friction. That's the thing that I think will be a little hard to communicate here, is I'm looking for any moment of friction. Okay, I've had several moments of friction already. They're not devastating, but they are friction. So each player takes their scoring token and places it in the biome discard bag. Well, when I go up to the components list to find oh man, what's going on here? Like, to figure out what my scoring token is, yikes, this is wild. So I go up here to figure out what my scoring token is, and then the components that are pointed to, there are 8 of them. So like, it's just, you said scoring token, but it looks like I have 2 of them. So that is just, when I went up to the components list and I saw 2 when I expected to find 1, that is friction. That's what I'm trying to highlight. That's friction. Also, wait, Am I a biome? Is that what's happening? Okay. I think what we already have here is a casualty, and the perfect justification for an introduction paragraph. There needs to be an introduction or an overview. I think what's happening is I'm a biome and I didn't know I was a biome. Okay, nobody told me I was a biome. And so am I playing as a biome? I feel like that's what's going on. And I don't think I missed anything. Like, this is definitely game contents. Then I get into setup directly. This is exactly why you would want an overview paragraph or an introductory paragraph, which they do have, by the way, which they do have in the Keylora rulebook. So they got this step sorted out. I've never been a biome before. This is my first time. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm shocked. Definitely my first time as a biome. Okay, so so here's a little bit of what I feel like is going on. So now this all makes sense. Okay. Setup step number 2: place the 30 resources of each biome into their respective biome bags. No, that's not what I meant. Because it said there. I thought we are talking about players as being biomes, but that's not the case. This is place the 30 resources of each biome into their respective. Okay, yeah, that's for the resources. Okay, each player takes their scoring token and places it in the biome discard bag. Shake the bag and pull out 1 token. This is the starting player. Place the biome resolution token in their biome. So this is the first instance where I come to understand that I am a biome, or that I have a biome. I still don't really know if that's true, but that I don't know where I would put something that they're telling me to put somewhere. Like, that's a source of friction. Place the VP tokens near the game board within reach of all players. Great. Easy. Let's continue. Also, okay, so 4. So these are the VP tokens. And I see that 3 is related to the first player marker, although I don't love that. But okay, it does say 3, and because it doesn't actually mention the first or the start player token, whatever they call it, it does say first. But anyway, there's a 3 and there's a 3. Admissible. Okay, so now draw 5 gathering goals from deck A and 1 gathering goal from deck B. Okay, where's 5? Where is 5? Okay, here is 5. Okay, how do I know what deck A is? Where is deck A? I don't see a deck A. Maybe it's like on the cards somewhere? Maybe it's like written on them? Like on the card, on the faces of the cards or something like that? Okay, draw 3 gathering goals from deck A and 1 gathering goal from deck B. Okay, but anyway, here are the gathering goal cards. There are 13 of them. Then place them face up on the gathering goal board with the deck A cards placed in the first 3 slots and the deck B card in the top slot. Okay. So first 3 and then top. So if I were to do this, okay, it looks like we're having a big connection problem right now. Okay, so if I were to go through, like if I'm like super duper procedural, okay, and okay, you said then place them face up in on the gathering goal board with the deck A cards placed in the first 3 slots. Okay, let me pause. Let me go place these cards in the first 3 slots. Which ones are the first 3 slots? Like, what's the best way for me to understand that? So this is what we're looking at right here. Okay, my question is, what are the first 3 slots? I would say these 3, right? They're the first 3 from top to bottom, right? And then if I continue the sentence, though, I think that's not what I find. I don't think so. Because then it says, face up, where did it go? The first 3 slots and the deck B card in the top slot. So what is the top? And how is that different from the first? So one is like enumeration, right? First, second, third. The second one is spatial. So it's a spatial relationship, top and bottom. So what's happening here? Like, what is going on? What am I actually supposed to do? What's first? What's the top? Are those different? Why are those different? They're definitely different, but I don't know which is which. Does it matter? Probably not. But here's more friction, right? For your first game, it's recommended. Oops. It's recommended that you use the follow use the follow. For your first game, it is recommended that you use the follow cards from deck A rather than drawing them random. Oh, following. Right. Following cards. Okay. Fair enough. Hey, I'm not gonna blame anybody for errors like this. Like, you should have had a copy editor catch everything, but it's almost impossible. Yeah. Where does one find their slots as a biome? It's a good question. How is it being a biome? That's what I'm still trying to figure out. What is that experience? Okay, so the following cards. But this is like, I don't mean to get stuck here on a typo, but typos matter. They do. Typos matter. From deck A rather than drawing them randomly. Okay. Okay, I would offset this. Like, I would want to highlight this somehow. Like, I wouldn't put it in the flow of setup exactly like this. Okay, shuffle these 3 cards and place them randomly in the first 3 slots. Okay. Continuing. Place a bonus token face up on each empty spot along the left side of the gathering goal board. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, along the what? Place a bonus token face up on each empty spot along the left side of the gathering goal board. Each empty spot. 6 is right here. They're talking about this area, but I don't know what spot spots. This is another kind of little, it's not a gripe exactly, but it's a little thing that stands out to me. Are we talking, like, when is a thing a slot versus when is it a spot? And are those different? If they are, we should be incredibly consistent. But yeah, I don't know what this means. Place a bonus token face up on each empty spot along the left side. What is the left side? This would be the left side, right? But they're shown down here. This would be the left side, I think. Okay. Give each player one nest goals card. Okay, can. It's interesting that it's called a nest goals card down below, but up here it's 10 nest goals. I actually pointed to that before. I would rather components be listed up here, not thematic thematic labels, because the goal is a thematic thing, whereas the material, the component is a card. That might not be quite right, but it's close. Okay. Each player chooses a bird type and its corresponding components. Wait, so we haven't even... Wait a minute. This is where you get individual player setup stuff, I think. Yeah. I think what they're talking about is setup for each individual player. So here is the thing. I was told I was a biome over here and that I have a biome. No. Where was it? Place the biome resolution token in their biome. Wait, this is the starting player. Place the biome resolution token in their biome. So I'm told I have a biome, or I have one. It's not that I am one. I have one. Okay, and then each player chooses a bird type and its corresponding components. What is happening here? So I think what a bird type means is probably one of these four birds. One of these four birds. Okay. Okay. One player board. One scoring token. Wait a minute. Each player takes their scoring token. Yeah. I think like this stands out, right? Like I feel like I know I might drive whoever wrote this rulebook crazy just because I am taking this much time and kind of moving through pretty slowly. But like, you got to be careful about this stuff. Like, you have to be very, very incremental and procedural here because these are the steps of setup. Like, you don't do things out of order. But here, somebody should have caught this. No, like, player colors and tokens have not been assigned yet. They get assigned down here at step 8. Okay? That's a big deal. That's a big point of friction. Like, you're telling me to do something, but I don't have the tools to do it. Right? Each player takes their scoring token. I don't have a scoring token yet. Nobody gave me one. What are you talking about? Right? That's like the buildup of friction, of tension in a player. Oh, I get a scoring token over here on another page. Right? This kind of stuff really matters. It really does. Like, if you get somebody going through the rulebook and they're confused, they're going to say, let's play something else. Right? Okay, and I'm not trying to beat up this publisher at all. That's not it. If this publisher doesn't know why people have bounced off the rulebook, we're starting to get an idea. And that's the point of this exercise. It's not to hate on anybody. It's not to insult anybody. It's to hold up a mirror and say, if you really want to understand why people are bouncing off the rulebook, we have to look for little things like this, like points of friction. Points when things, when the order of operations is off, because people are trying to work their way through this rule book in order to get to the game. If they can't get through the rule book, they're not going to get to the game. So each player chooses a bird type and its corresponding components. Okay, now we're cooking. One bird energy token and its corresponding components. I like that, corresponding. That seems fine to me. Okay, wait a minute. 6 biome dice. 6 in each color. Okay, how do I know what is corresponding to what? Like, which bird is this? And which are its corresponding dice? Oh, okay, so you show them like this. Do the player boards have those? The player boards themselves don't differentiate very clearly with color. Wait, do they? Francisco, are you sure you're going to want me to look at your rule book? I don't know. After this, I think I might have scared you away, right? That's right. You didn't know that. Right. Now it seems like we should have a podcast all about rulebook reviews, not classic movie reviews. Okay, I'm concerned here that the player boards themselves don't communicate very clearly, like which components go with them. So it's a very odd idea that these bags are connected to the biomes, but they're also sort of connected to me as a player. But it's odd because it hasn't been very clearly described yet. So each player chooses a bird type and its corresponding components. How can I tell what's corresponding? I cannot. Like, how do I know that? Except for the possibility that they are naturally corresponding, as Francisco suggests. Okay, each player chooses a bird type, and I think what they mean is chooses a player board with a certain bird on it, right? One player board, one scoring token, one bird energy token. What is a bird energy token? Bird energy. Okay, up here. Oh, these tokens are multi-purpose. 8 bird energy / scoring tokens. Okay. Okay. 1 bird miniature / meeple. Okay, is it a miniature or is it a meeple? I think it's a meeple. 6 biome dice, 20 biome segments. 20 in each color. Okay, 20 biome segments. Yeah, this is... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. 20 biome segments. And they're all different colors. Whereas the dice are all the same colors. Wow. There are 5 sets of different colored segments, and I'm supposed to take 5 of each. I see little color symbol icons on the player board. Where? In the upper right-hand corner. Those are slots for dice. Look, they're slots for dice. In other words, one of your dice gets slotted up in there. Now see how there's 5 dice here and there's 1 die up here? Yeah, those are one of the 6 dice you get. But you're right, that's what I thought at first too. I noticed that too. But no, that's a cutout. You can see it on the player boards up here. That's a cutout for a die. And I'm sure it will come up in one of the steps right here. Players then arrange their components as follows. Place a bird energy token in the top left slot along the left edge of the player board. Okay, so this is just kind of we're reading super closely, and I do have to transition away pretty soon. But this says top left slot along the left edge. Okay. Unfortunately, there is not a top left slot along the left edge. There is a top slot on the left edge. So top left, if you're looking, yeah, there is no there's no opportunity to what would that be? What am I trying to think of? The coordinates? This is not a time to code the coordinates twice here, because it's the top slot on the left side of the board. So that, again, it's just points of friction. Like top left slot, there is not a top right slot. There's only a top slot and a bottom slot. So it is little details like this that will rub somebody wrong, I promise. Yeah, but your eyes are pretty sharp, Francisco, for seeing it so small in my layout. Okay. Place 5 of the biome dice below the player board and the remaining biome die in the top right slot of the player board. Again, I think what you're trying to do, and I appreciate this, I think you're trying to orient me to the board itself. So look at the top right of your board. There is a slot. Unfortunately, that is not the top right slot. There's only one slot, right? And if you say top right, that means you're telling me that relative to some other slot, this one is the top right one. You got it? I feel like I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to Francisco. But I'm also, there's like a kind of audience here. I actually don't know if they're going to watch this. I kind of wish they don't, because this is not very clean. It's not very organized, but it is definitely my experience of reading through this. So place 5 of the biome dice below. Yeah. Place the biome segments next to the player board. It looks like you've placed them all above the player board, at least in the pictures. I would probably describe it that way. Place the scoring token at the bottom of the gathering goal board. Wait a minute. What's going on here with the 2 scoring tokens? Because there's 1 scoring token, but there are 2 shown up here. So, wait, where does this go? Place the scoring token at the bottom of the gathering goal board. Let me look at that. Okay, that's what's going on here. Oh. Wait, what was going on the... Something else was going in the slot somewhere. Here. Place a bonus token face up on each empty spot along the left side of the gathering goal board. Oh, wait a minute. What is on the gathering goal board? No. Wait a minute. 6. Place a bonus token face up on each empty spot along the left side. What is a bonus token? Let's look at that. Right here. Right here. You know what? I apologize. I see them now. They are very small. These are super small. I need to, I'm going to take ownership that I missed this, But these little brown tokens, that's the left side of this gathering goals. What is it called? Gathering goal board. I thought this 6 might be pointing to here, but actually this is the scoring token. This is a player's scoring token. Okay, that's my bad. I did not identify that these are the bonus tokens and they're placed along the edge. But also, my screen, compared to like what a rulebook's page size would be, is bigger than that. So, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to get hung up there, but yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so that is set up. So that was the first 2 pages here. I do need to transition away and go to school, but I'll be honest, there was a fair amount of confusion, and I know I'm not being a generous reader here, but I had a fair amount of confusion in the first 2 pages of actual text. And so I'm nervous to get into the rules, partly because as I look through these pages, there is a lot of text. And the illustrations are nice, and it looks like you know, they put some care into the layout for sure, but there is a lot of text here. There might need to be a part 2. There might need to be a part 2. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I also didn't realize this was Brandon's game. So I oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Chris Stone and Chris Baki both read this rule book. Oh no. Hopefully they read it way before anybody had the final reading here. Cuz yeah, rulebook design. Oh no. I'm sorry guys. I really am. But setup, I mean, come on. Like, that's pretty rough. And they had a lot of input on this rule book. Oh, man. What do I do? Should I destroy the evidence, Francisco? Should I destroy this video? Because, I mean, I feel like I wasn't being super unfair to this rule book. Yeah, I don't know what to do now. Well, no, these are just like friends of mine. Like Chris Baki's great. Like he's been super helpful in like teaching me like game design stuff, and he's a professional editor too. Chris Stone is another guy. He's one of the admin or one of the mods or admin for BGDL. I don't mean to like out him or anything. Also, this guy's been working on the rulebooks this whole time. He mentioned this is what this other guy mentioned. The guy I'm talking with, and I just did not expect these two to have input and for the rulebook to be in this situation. That's all. It could be like too many cooks in the kitchen too. You know what I mean? So anyway, I gotta go. I gotta run to school. But thanks for hanging out. I really don't know what to do with this video. And it's all an adventure. But okay, that's it for me. Have a great day. Be productive, as usual. Anyway, bye-bye for now. Yeah, what evidence? I like it.